What is going on, you tube world? Steve, Vinny, I'm Dave. Insert Revolution Podcast, episode 84, bringing you quality content week after week without taking breaks. Unlike others. Original content. Unlike others.
We're going to use the content word again. The word that most of us can't stand to hear in the first place.
Only hashtag good deals only. Unlike others. Not even just over a minute in, Steve, with the first head shake of the night.
What else is new?
This is true.
On brand.
I was getting ready to say that. Perfect timing. Oh, do we know each other well or do we know each other well? That's the scary part. Three-headed monster these days.
So, how was the week that was hobby-wise? We'll start with that first, and then...
Nothing. Nada, zip, zero, zilch. I keep adding stuff to the watch list, but don't ever follow it through. It's just, as I was saying early on, I don't know. Bob did follow back up on the 13 cards that I needed for 2022 tops. So that set will be completed at some point in the near future. So that will at least fully solidify that goal off the list. And then I still owe him the list for rookies and stars. And I said I'd send it Sunday, I don't remember. But I was involved in honeydew tasks a lot this weekend, and then weather kind of took a little bit more of a front seat because it was a little interesting last night, to say the least. No confirmed tornadoes, but it's still kind of hairy and dicey when you have circulation that's probably about 5 miles north of where you live and moving east.
Mm-hmm.
So we had some pretty heavy rain. I want to say we probably got over close to 3 inches of rain in about an hour. I mean, it was nuts. Wind gust blew the lid open of my trash can because Tuesdays are trash days here. And I, of course, because, who knows when they show up in the morning. So I always put mine out the night before.
Mm.
But the wind ended up blowing the lid open as it was just pouring. And when there was a little bit of a lull, I went out there and closed the lid. But then I looked at it this morning. There was probably a good foot of water in the bottom of the trash can. I'm like, whew. We needed the rain. We dodged the hail, which is always a good thing. And like no wind damage, nothing along those lines. So we no major issues, but a little dicey for a good half an hour as the sirens were going off and stuff. Benny, how about you? Hobby-wise, and then, of course, new scenery for those who have paid attention. And
It's been a plethora of patch cards, jersey cards, a lot. They've been popping up. I'm taking them down. So I got some good ones that I really wanted. So the better half is keeping me abreast of my packages that are arriving. As you can tell, I'm not in my normal scenery. I am at my parents' house visiting my mom, my dad, and my baby brother. C is currently with my aunt and uncle, chilling for the night, and I am broadcasting from my brother's bedroom because my bedroom is full of stuff. A lot of stuff. So my dad's been condensing everything. So helping him put some drywall up while I'm here. We had some shingles blow off the roof. So he got that taken care of yesterday. So it's an odd timetable around here because my brother wakes up at certain times of the evening. So everybody's down there sleeping now. And in 2 hours, it's a conversation fest for about an hour and a half, 2 hours. Sleep a couple hours, wake back up, talk some more, pass out for a little while. So it's not a normal sleeping schedule around here. But had some stuffed peppers, a Croatian delicacy, for dinner tonight. They were delectable. And tomorrow is hot sausage and peppers.
There's a Croatian hot sausage they make at the store, or one of the guys makes it, and they grow the seed in like their mother's backyard, and it is fucking killer. It is so good. I always tell them, I said, you got some of that seed on you? You gonna make some of that sausage? Like, no, it's winter time. I said, yeah, but in the summer you can grow a ton and then fucking cryovac it. Like, I've done that. I was like, let's share with the team, because I mean, we'll usually make either breakfast burritos, because he'll give like a package, like when you get your hamburger on, like the 1 pound package or so, the styrofoam. Tristan and I'll usually either eat that like some breakfast bake or breakfast burritos, which breakfast burritos are pretty much my crack, besides chips. But breakfast burritos are just absolutely. It's like hungry hippo. I fucking just if you want one, you better fucking get one when you see it, because it's gone. I don't give a shit about you or your hunger when it comes to breakfast burritos. It doesn't matter. I'm gonna stuff myself until shit's falling over my mouth. So that hot sausage is absolutely to die for. It's killer. It's fucking good.
There's an Italian lady that lives probably about a half hour away that my brother knows, and he picks it up from her, and that leans toward the Italian side of the family. So Sunday was roasted pork and potatoes, so again, Croatian. And then yesterday was pretty much leftovers, and today was the stuffed peppers. Tomorrow, like I said, Italian sausage and the peppers and onions. It'll be good. But no pierogies, Yannick. My dad didn't have time to make them, so no pierogies this visit, because I'm out of here Thursday night. We catch the train at like 9-ish. So that puts us back in the Detroit Metro around 5 a.m. on Friday. So it'll be a long day for me. I slept most of Sunday. I stayed up for about 34 to 36 hours straight, because I just was wide awake on the train, and got here, hung out with my aunt and uncle for a while. They picked us up at the depot. And by the time I sat there and talked to my brother for a while, it was about 4 o'clock, and I was out for about 5 hours. So nice trip.
More food?
Very affordable. Pardon?
More food stop on the way back, or the train just go right through?
It goes right through. So it'll pick me up, and then we'll go through Pittsburgh. One stop that's on the border of Ohio, Cleveland, Uriah, some other place, and then Toledo. So it's about 7 hours. Usually by car, it's like 5.5. So with all the stops that take about 15, 20 minutes apiece, there's your 7 hours. And by going to Toledo, you cut off 3 more hours because it does a loop. It comes back down to Detroit. So it goes to Toledo, up through a couple other places, and then comes down to Detroit, and then goes to Chicago. So this train will be origin Washington, D.C. on Thursday. So I'll get on what would be like a 4th or 5th stop.
Yeah. It's good to get away.
Yep.
Yeah, it's been nice. It's been nice just hanging out.
Even with being put to work.
Some stuff done. Yeah, and it's not been much. Just helping him do stuff. So,
well, it's one of those in which it's not necessarily the work. It's all about spending quality time, So it gives you an opportunity to have good conversation while you're, helping getting stuff done that, he needs help on too. So,
yeah,
because I've only been here 2 times in 2 years, which is abnormal for me.
Right.
So,
yeah, it's one of those in which when you ended up telling us about it, it was, I don't want to speak for Dave, but kind of put a smile on my face, and it's like, good for him to be able to get away. And it's one of those in which it's twofold. You get a chance to get away with C. C gets to see the family too. You get to spend time with the family, and Meredith gets some potential alone time too. So it's it's a combination of things. But
she's at the pro soccer match right now, so which I was hoped to be watching on the side here, but it's not letting me watch it for some reason. So, yeah.
They don't like you.
No.
So how about you, Dave? Other than the fact that I think you're in the same position I am.
Probably. Work. Picked up a couple cards. Not much. It's got the 2. And again, it's the same song and dance. 2 lots of wrestling DVDs came in. So I need to start with a list on that. That's some of the stuff I've been slacking on. But again, it's been pretty much overall. As I've mentioned, the hobby love is pretty much at gas tank. Not even because the high gas prices, it's just fucking not there. I mean, I can lose something, and I'm like, at this point, if I win something, I'm shocked.
Yeah, it's that inevitable wall, it seems.
So
And
I've got a couple things coming in, but again, it's
slim pickings.
and it's all around too. It's not just oh fuck, there's Abreu's cold or what Josh Johnson. There's nothing popping up. I'll go over here. It's like okay, then I go here. Okay, lose everything there. Let's check over here. Nothing there to bid on. Not that I care about. And I've got enough shit to go after. It's not fucking 2 players and maybe 1 set I'm doing. There's some other stuff I'm starting to look at because I like it, or it's because I just want to get a couple things in, but I want to make sure that it's stuff that I'm not going to sit here in 2 weeks, in 2 months, be like, this really doesn't do much for me now. I want to make sure if I'm spending money, it's going to be on something I can't give a shit about. And there's some stuff that's out there, like I said, I like. I don't know. I'm trying to gauge the market because it's stuff that isn't in the usual wheelhouse. And like for next week, save some money instead of spending it because we're going to be Tuesday night down in St. Paul watching a hockey game.
Yeah, so no show next week. So for those who may or may not, no show. No Dave, no show.
So Trista
prepare yourselves accordingly.
Yeah, find other things to be entertained with on a Tuesday night, which it's like Carl, it's slim pickings around here. There's a little bump in the wage once everything got integrated about mid-November. It wasn't anything to fucking get excited about at all. But I'm working between 45 and 50 hours a week. And again, with about 100 hours of overtime. And that was missing the first week of the year with COVID. So it's I wouldn't say more pay. I could buy more stuff. I could do more things. Part of and I know you'd mentioned last week, Ty, about the Elton John, like, man, that's a spendy expenditure. It was. But with out of every paycheck, I've got $50 that goes to it's like a Christmas club. Basically, it's just a savings account at a different fucking bank. The closest one I think is in Hermantown. So that's basically Duluth. That's 2 hours away. The only time I go there is if I know I'm going on a trip. I need money. I'm going to go watch wrestling. I'm going to go to the cities for something. I'm trying to look for something. That's the thing. I want to find something that'll stick out. I've got a hoodie of the Oilers. I'm watching the Oilers, so that's the key. I can wear my Dumba Gamer, but I'd represent Team Schmedium out there in Cali. It looked like Lake Tahoe. It'd be a golf event. I want to, and again, it's terrible because the kids get the stuff, which they should. You see, like, hey, rock, paper, scissors for a puck, starburst for a puck or something. I want to be like Zup sausage for a stick. You up for it, Dumba? But I don't know if I can get the sausage in there. That's the thing. It's the cryovac like sausage links, and I'd want to do that because again, that stick means something to me more than it would to a kid. A kid would be like, "Yeah, it's fun. I got it from a game." It's my fucking favorite player. That's been my favorite player for the last 7, 8 years. And probably will be the last hockey player I collect because Robertson for Dallas is doing too well and eventually will price himself out of my budget. But I've thought about that. And again, there's the motivation part. There's like the desire, the want. It's like, I'm sure I could get on TV with a stupid sign because we're Trista got tickets that were like 3 rows back, I think, from the bench, and I don't know which one. I don't know if it's the Wild or the Oilers, but either way, it's my favorite team. This has been my favorite team since Gretzky was there. Again, you'd watch Sports Center, and that would be the highlights way back when. You'd see Gretzky and Curry and Messier and Lowe and Fuhr. All these guys, 9-4, 9-5. He's got a hat trick and 3 assists. Messier's got a goal and 4 assists. It's like, that's what you watch. That's what I gravitated towards. So even after he left, there's the lull of the 90s. They weren't exactly world beaters, but you had Dougie Wade come up, Marty Reisner, and Ryan Smith. Then they acquired Salo. So, I mean, they had their group of guys that I'd follow and I loved. And so, again, it's just, I don't show my fandom for teams. That's the one thing. If you've followed me for any point of or any amount of time, you know that I love my teams, but I'm not sitting there always wearing gear, excited with them. I mean, I watch them. I learned several years ago, if I'm going to have a heart attack because the Chargers lose, I could have a heart attack every fucking week because it's dumb plays and then you lose 20-20 or 23-20, 17-14, something stupid, and a missed field goal. I think the last game I got pissed off with them was that I think the Jets game. I don't know if it's the AFC semi divisional, like 05, 06, when Kading missed a field goal, and then well, yeah, that's how many years ago. And then you see what I'm wearing. It's not just like Chargers. It's not that buffalo plaid, but something like just a big chamois shirt jacket type thing, and then a winter Chargers hat. But I was like, I'm not going to get mad at sports because, again, are they going to get mad at me if I have an off day at work? No, they don't.
Yes, Dave. Yes.
No, fuck you. They don't care. So, again, I'll follow them. I'll cheer for them. I'll get mad when they lose stupidly. I'll cheer when they win. But it's not, again, living in Minnesota, that's the Vikings fans are the perfect template of how not to be team fans. So,
dude, no.
And I'm sure you're going to say some Texas team, maybe the Texans or the Texas A&M Aggies, or maybe Houston Baptist, or UTEP, the Miners. That's what it is. Those insufferable people.
No. I will put Cowboys fans up against anybody when it comes to ignorance and overall excessive fandom to the extreme. They win 2 preseason games, and it's like, we're going to the Super Bowl. They win the first game of the season. We're going to the Super Bowl. And then when they start sucking, it's like, oh, freaking, they need to do this. Bench Dak and Zeke is trash. And it's like, wow. Wow.
Oh, I'll give you. There's more of them, obviously, than Viking fans. But if we would record conversations on both ends, from like talk radio, and you got the sports people calling in the fans and whatnot, or just like bar talk, I would say it's going to be a push. It's the same way up here. It is just absolute buffoonery. You have Kirk Cousins go 24 for 30, 320. Jefferson's got 120. Cousins throws 4 touchdowns. Cook has like 90 and a touchdown on the ground. And they win 31-24 over the Bears. The next week at home, they lose to the Packers 42-12. The week before, it's to get your tickets set for enter Super Bowl location here. Next week, trade Cousins, fire Spielman, fire the Wilfs have to sell the team before they're forced to relocate. It's like, hold on. A knee-jerk reaction isn't even a big enough term for this stuff. It's like,
welcome to the home of the 5 Super Bowls. That is like the mantra that you hear anytime you walk into that stadium with another jersey on. And all I do is can laugh. It's like when you win one in the last decade, then open your mouth. Until then, shut up. Nobody cares. You haven't won one in 30 years. Shut up.
yeah, Larry Brown, that's the last one.
It's like
just picking off O'Donnell.
It's like, just shut up. I don't. I can say one thing. So I've only been to one Denver home game in my life. And they played the Dolphins. And Denver lost at home. So it was a big win for Miami. But as you were leaving the stadium, there was no trash talk. There was no altercations. It was back and forth conversation, talking about how good of a game it was, hanging out in the parking lot. All fans were like intermingled and everything else. And I'm not saying that that's always going to be the case. Like I said, I've only one experience. But, that one experience says a lot about that dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
Walking through the parking lot, decked out in all your Broncos stuff, your jersey, your hat, and everything else. And you just see a bunch of cutting up, kidding around of Bronco Dolphin fans. There was no trash talk. It was just one of those unusual experiences for me. Like I said, not saying that that's always the case. But then to compare it walking into, the old Arlington Stadium and then now, or Texas Stadium, I should say, and now, JerryWorld, it's like same song and dance, same statement, same everything. And you're like, dude, just shut up. Get over yourself.
Yeah, it's been the same at the Metrodome. I wore my Fire jersey there for an Arizona game back in, I don't even remember what it would have been. 07 maybe? And just shit talking the whole game. You had drunk idiots, which I'm used to in Minnesota. Favre sucks, and finally it's like, when's the last time you guys went to the Super Bowl? Fuck you! Like, were you even born? Fuck you! Like, shut up. Nobody cares. I'm here to watch a football game. I don't give a shit about. I wore a football jersey to a football game. What a fucking concept. I don't care who it could have been. I could have dug out my Tony Banks Ravens jersey. It wouldn't have fucking mattered. It's just the dumbness, the ignorance, and arrogance for whatever reason. It's a Patriots fan. Hey, I get if you're arrogant. Brady or not, you've got titles. You've got them. Again, most of them are all bandwagon people that have come on in the last 20 years. That'll be a sidebar for another time. But when you haven't done anything, and you've traded away your best players, you fucking bunged up all of your trades. You traded Randy Moss for basically nothing. You brought him back just to cut him like 2 weeks later. You pretty much ran Robert Smith. Again, he's a smart guy. He knew when to get out too. But you basically ran him out of the league because of your ineptitude and incompetence and never getting anything right. Christ, John Randall fucking left. That's the face of your franchise, and he left. So
yeah, we could have a whole show in reference to this one.
Yeah,
because we know Vinny probably has a few things to add to that topic of conversation. That may be one that we bring up closer we get to football season. But
and Joe, I do like Lights Out, Sean Merriman. He had a lot of energy. Seo, that's always going to be 1A or 1B. Natron's always going to be the other one. Seo brought me to the table. I love watching him in college. They drafted him. That was about the time I really was getting into football. I mean, you watched it. All you really watched it for back when you're 8, 9-ish. Hey, football's on. Let's go outside and play football. That's what it was. It wasn't like today where 600 cameras and all this other bullshit. It was just, it's like, man, football's on. I haven't tossed a football around. I haven't kicked one for a while. Let's go. So
that's an interesting comments. I'm just going to let that sit there and marinate for a bit.
I was going to say,
let marinate.
You missed a word at the very end. Again.
Must be from those Beckett slabs he always talks about.
Has to be. So we're just going to let that
hashtag allegedly.
Yeah.
No, hashtag facts.
Yeah.
Let's call it like it is. So we're going to let that marinate for a little bit. but I figured we did.
To wrap up for Ty, I've got the account. Like I said, I touch it maybe twice a year. So again, it's not like a boatload of money, but at the same time, like I said with the goals video of the year and on the podcast here, I wanted more experiences. I've got enough videos. I still get them, DVDs, whatever. I wanted more experiences. And again, Elton John's tour, he's fucking done. Hashtag allegedly, but again, you're 75, 76, whatever. You're not going to go forever. I don't want it to be like Gordon Lightfoot. If I were to go to one of his concerts now, I would fucking probably hate him. Because he doesn't sound anything like he did 30 years ago, 40 years ago. So I wanted to do that. Plus, my brother and I had talked about that for our mom a couple of years ago for the same time. For like Mother's Day, birthday, whatever. Just because, again, that's not shit she would do. She wouldn't go out and be like, oh, I'm going to buy tickets. She doesn't mean, she sits there and taps on her the track phone. She's like, and it's just like, it's literally like watching the Help, I've Fallen, I Can't Get Up commercial lady try to use a cell phone. It's fucking horrible. I mean, it's just like it's like you're tapping on a window at the DMV. That's how hard she'll tap. I'm like, you don't have to put your finger through the phone. So to do that for her, get Trista was me to do something and then get my brother and my mom to know her better. It wraps it all up. I I'd love to watch Phil Collins or Genesis, but the current
he's done.
Yeah, the current version of Phil is not one that I'd even want to see, because I'd probably cry from just seeing what he looks like now.
Yeah, he played his last show in London.
Yeah, and he looked
last week, I think. His final show, and he played the whole thing sitting down.
Yeah,
and it was just him singing, because he can't play drums, he can't play piano, he can't do anything.
No,
his health is just deteriorating. So it's in those situations, you would have rather seen them. I don't want to say in their prime per se, but you would rather have a better experience / memory in where he was actually able to be Phil Collins. It would be no different, with like Elton John.
Yeah.
If he comes back when he's 85 years old and for whatever reason he can't play the piano and all he does is sing, it's like it's not the same experience, So
no, that was the reason I'm like, I didn't want to pay. My brother got the tickets. I said I'll pay whatever I need to, and again, a healthy chunk of change, but it's a memory we're all gonna have, and it's something that it's not like, oh man, I'm gonna rip on Trista. It's not like I'm going to a fucking Post Malone concert. Nobody gives a shit. This is Elton John. This is some pillar. If you're talking about any kind of like Mount Rushmore of musical performers that have actual musical talent and ability, on, I'd say, a majority. I won't say all or most, but a lot of folks would have him somewhere on there. But so, again, somebody you wanted to see forever, that. Like I said, I've said this too. I say this constantly. I fucking feel like I say it every week, either in text, on here, or wherever, somewhere. Like wrestling, any of these performers, their fucking calendar, their clock, it's not eternal. If you get a chance to see him, you can finagle it whatever way, shape, form, or fashion. Do it. We've talked about that plenty of times when we had a music chat that one night for 2-3 hours. It's like, fuck, we want to go see these guys. We don't want to see these guys because you only have one guy left, and it's like the guy that's dinging the triangle. It's like, no, I don't want to, just because he's got the band rights because everybody else is dead. Like, no, I want to see the entities.
Who's this guy?
I don't know. Some fella, some guy.
Spammer.
Yeah.
It's a bot. It's a bot. Block.
I just looked at a picture of Phil Collins because I hadn't seen him. Whoa.
Yep.
Yeah, he's bad, man.
It is.
I feel bad for that dude because he's such a. He was my Aunt Margie, my grandma's sister. That was her favorite artist ever. She always was listening to Phil Collins when we went to her house.
Show your one card, Dave, so we can appease this guy. I'm tempted on putting him on timeout for 5 minutes.
There you go, Eric.
Yeah, because unfortunately, because Vinny is not at home, he can't help.
I could show you some pictures of me from like 8th grade.
Spare us, spare us from that. I'm kidding.
And I got a thing of mud here for drywall. Other than that, You're not getting much out of me. And
Did you
there's
take
a kitchen
any?
sink sitting over here.
Did you take any blasters or anything with you to open with your brother?
No, because on it with going on the train, you have limited stuff. And here's the kicker. So I get there, I go, I would like to check 2 bags, please. And they were like, where are you going? And I told them my destination. We do not allow check bags. Really? So I got a roller suitcase. Cease got a roller suitcase. I got a backpack. She's got a backpack. Then we got the most important thing, the snacks and the beverages. So you could have two personal items and 2 basically suitcases. So 4 things per passenger. But so when I got on the train, there's like a big giant cubby hole, 2 of them.
Mm-hmm.
I said, just stand there, see. And I picked them up and I shoved them in there. And they were sitting there when I got off the train. So, well, Eric, I'm sorry. I can't help it. I was thinking about putting some in my bag, but then I was like, yeah. And then we went to Walmart today, and there was 1 hanger pack left of Series 1 baseball. I grabbed it, and soccer match attack.
Okay.
So I grabbed 2 of those for me and C to open eventually. And they had no other. So I've been since Saturday. I've been to 1, 2, 3 Walmarts and a Target, and only cards I found were those. It's been tons of Chronicles basketball, but other than that, nothing. Because the better half was like, "Don't spend a bunch of money if you find cards." I'm like,
quiet, you.
I'm not going to find much. So there's, I want to see a pair of shoes because they're on sale at a place around here tomorrow, maybe. And I might stop at the Target there. It's the only place that I haven't hit. So if there's nothing there, then my trip's I've hit everything in the area that I could think of retail wise. So there is a Walmart by the train station about 15 minutes away. I might stop there on the way. And if I find anything, jam it into my suitcase. But I'd rather not do that.
So, Dave, you're getting a big thumbs up for the lighting.
Who, from Ed? Oh, thank you, Sean.
Part of
That's
that
something-
part of that I think we've identified though potentially connection related though too.
Yeah.
It's all speculation, but there's times in which it seems like connectivity sometimes comes into play from time to time from Dave's perspective. Of course, where I'm sitting in the backyard because for whatever reason my wife decided she was going to power wash the front porch. So I have no place to sit on the front porch. That's why I'm on the back porch. And of course, sun's going down and I wanted to actually sit down. So you're kind of getting shadows from me.
I was like, the street light on one side, or like the dusk of the evening, and then the darkness.
No, I don't like where I'm sitting, honestly. But we've got so much crap on this patio. We're trying to do some stuff to this backyard. My wife has got one of her crafting projects over here that she's doing stuff for one of the neighbors. It's like, geez. She gripes and complains about wanting to have the backyard nicer and be able to sit out here. And it's like, quit bringing crap out here.
That's it. It's one way to lessen the crap.
And I'm just going to go ahead and say it, Eric. We don't care about your needs.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm speaking for myself. You know, Dave and Vinny may disagree, but, you know, hey.
No, I'll appease Eric once in a while, but yeah. I don't think he's found anybody on here that has really cared about his needs yet.
So another thanks to you, Dave. You made Ed have to use the bathroom from your video. Anybody else find that a little bit dark and demented? Just thought I'd ask.
I liked it.
It was a little dark, a little demented, demonic, maybe. You got your point across.
Usually I try to do that. If nothing else, I try to do that. And that, again, trying to do that all in the top of your head without... I've seen others do those things and sort of have like cliff notes or whatever they're reading off prompters and whatnot. It's like, because you don't want to be redundant.
Yeah, but you want it to be original. You don't want it to sound like it's scripted though either.
That's exactly. One of the positives of being a wrestling fan, especially if you watch the promos, you pick a lot of stuff up. And I don't know. I want to do something different where it wasn't again myself all cheery unicorns, rainbows, toilet flowers. I didn't want that. This community, we've praised it to the high heavens before because there's a lot of it we love. We've also been very forthcoming with there's a fucking ton of shit that's stupid as hell that a lot of people don't want to say. You don't. It's not that you have to be negative, but if you're going to buy a new vehicle, and this is a huge stretch of a comparison, but do you just want to hear about the good, or do you want to read up? Because again, a car salesman probably isn't going to be like, well, you know what? This car isn't for you. And they're going to instead of the Navigator or whatever, you're going to get like a Geo Metro. No, you want to do your research. Whatever way that is, you want to go through, I don't know, watchdog type sites or whatever, or like a Consumer Reports. You want to find out the information. What's going on? New Ford F-150. What do we got going on? Is it half of it plastic and nothing's metal anymore, or what? What's the deal? Because if I'm going to put time, money into that, I want to make my quote unquote hashtag investment worthwhile. Same as on here. If you're going to invest time and you want to, again, you can build your brand, do whatever you want, but if you actually want to talk with people and not just use them for information to try to start up other stuff that falls flat on its face, and get to know people and be like, okay, well, what are you guys thinking? What are we seeing here? And what are some of the tips? I won't say tricks because it's not really a trick, but what are the tips you'd give to folks to make videos? Build up a base. It doesn't have to be 8 billion, 5,000, 1,000, whatever the case may be. What would be the tips to build that base up? And most of us are going to say be genuine. Show that you love, or make it sound that you actually do love what you're showing off. That it isn't a chore, it isn't a job. It's not something that you're like, fuck, I love my cards, but this is a task that I don't want to do. It's something that it's something that I don't care about, but I want to do it. The editing, the fancy graphics, that's going to be to get the periphery people. If that's what you want, hey, more power to you.
The thumbnail.
Yeah,
Mm.
that's always the key. To put as many
See-
famous people in the thumbnail as you can.
Clickbait.
Yes. Again, sometimes that's good. Sometimes if you've got something, maybe you feel, hey, I just got a superfractor. I just got a trifold triple threads booklet 101. Steve finally picked up the PMG green. You're going to put something in a thumbnail, not because, oh man, I want more views. It's because, you know what? I know how important this is to me. I want to show that. In the rare occasion that I do that, we do that, because it's like, oh, Steve's got something to show off and he's being vague about it, but I see green. If this is what I think it is, let's say we haven't texted in a while, which we wouldn't, but again, like, oh fuck, what's going on? It's going to be something, I'm guessing green. He's just like green with envy. I'm like, oh fuck. So it can be done both ways. You can do it. You want to do it for just the attention horror version of it. That's fine. But the connections won't be as strong when you constantly are. And I don't want to say like the boy calling wolf or calling whatever, because at times that's necessary, but all the time I'm like, fuck, I got a monster big hit. It's like an SP card out of like Tops. It's like, that's a nice card, but if you've got a certain subscriber base, if it's us, let's say folks like us, you get an SP or an SSP, or yeah, it's a nice card. I don't fucking think that's a mega acquisition. I mean, you might have paid mega dollars. I don't know, but at the same time, that our cardboardology is a little different than others. So,
Bingo. Oh, sorry. I had it on my bingo card, so I figured I'd call it out.
So again, it I don't even know how it started. That's how the rambling starts right there.
And I just like to ask a question since Bob Lewis has graced us with his presence. So if you judge every channel by their thumbnail, I'm interested to get your opinion of my channel specific, because there is no thumbnail. Just thought I'd throw that out there. Anyways, as you were, Dave.
I don't even remember how I was.
How do we tall bullying, Bobby? Just thought I'd pose the question. Just hypothetically, what's the so
he wants talls.
I was going to say is, so what are we going to negate short bullying and just only focus on tall bullying? I'm trying to get some clarification here.
Tall, skinny bullying?
Short, fat bullying? You know, anyways, Bobby, you know, we get the picture.
And this might be trouble about it.
What was that, Vinny? You kind of were a little choppy there briefly.
I said, think about it. It could actually be tall bullying. I digress.
That's correct. I know where you're going. It could be somebody with a lot of hair, or it could be somebody with a shaved head.
Yeah. And if anybody hasn't watched, and it's one of those, I'm going to pose the question, just because I think Eric's still here. I caught like the tail end of Carlos's show last Friday, and Bob was on there. She Blinded Me with Refractors was on there. Eric, Yannick, Bobby, of course. But the topic of conversation came up as it pertains to specifically that whole scenario. And not trying to call Eric out specifically, but he seemed to be in the outskirts as it pertained to his beliefs and his feelings surrounding, the situation, that the guy who got the deal, it was more, the question becomes, as an individual, are you morally obligated to be honest, so to speak, in a situation like that?
Mhm.
And from my perspective, I can argue both sides. I really can. But at the end of the day, whether or not you believe that the individual should have handled it differently or vice versa, whatever, is really minute in the scheme of that whole situation and scenario. And hence the reason why part of the topic of the show has to do with, bullying. This, I can honestly say it's been a long time personally that I've seen or experienced something like this within the card community. And I'm using the term community because let's be real. We are. Whether we like everybody or not is irrelevant. We all have a place in this hobby verse. But it's the first time I can remember in a long time in which this type of situation happened. Leveraging your friends, your subscribers, your followers as a way to try and get something that you want. Because of an error, because of a mistake. Excuse the dog.
He's agreeing too.
Well, I said my wife is still out there, cleaning the front porch and probably moving stuff around, or he's seeing shadows. But it's one of those. And I agree, LA Pats. The initial aspect of it, it really, like I said, I can argue both sides. I can look at it from one perspective of, if I'm a seller and, for whatever reason, I don't do my due diligence and I do something like that, I screwed up. It's my fault. On the flip side, if you let somebody monitor or watch your stuff, this isn't the olden days. Everybody has access to the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And why couldn't the individual bother to look up something? I mean, it's there are certain caveats and certain things that that really don't make sense to me, because if somebody didn't feel comfortable or whatnot, everybody has the internet. It's not like you couldn't go pull it up and look at comps and get an idea and look at the back of it per se and be like, okay, this obviously isn't the price. I'm not trying to make excuses or generalizations or things along those lines. That topic can be debated until you're blue in the face. Because at the end of the day, there really isn't a right or wrong answer. It boils down to what you believe, your personal feelings, your personal beliefs, morals, values, whatever nomenclature you want to throw at it. But
Bingo.
the fact that somebody can come out and try and threaten, that's the issue. That's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And I've experienced it. I know it's crazy to believe, but I was threatened to be called out on something. And it's like, great, wonderful, do it, please. I dare you. I really want you to. And it's like there's no place for that. And the fact that it had to be this major like production between both parties is another issue in itself. But I'm gonna throw something out here though. If the tables were turned and it's not the same situation, but it can be conveyed and it's similar in nature. What if a hobby influencer bought this card? Roles are going to be reversed here for a second. Hobby influencer or guy with large followers and loves to have, floating heads all over everything, purchase this card for said cheap price and posts it on Instagram or makes a video, and it's like the deal of the century.
Mm.
I'm willing to bet that the vast majority of those comments are going to be like, way to go. You scored a hell of a deal. Their loss.
Yep.
Nice job. Is that not a double standard? So you've got to look at this from multiple angles and multiple aspects. And, a lot of it had to do based on percentages that they were looking at, if it's 1,000 times type situation. And it's one of those in which you got to put things in perspective. There's a lot of different ways to look at this. Bottom line is there is no place in this community, in this hobby sphere, where anybody should feel that the only way to get something that they want is by threatening and by bullying somebody. To me, that is unacceptable.
Mm-hmm.
But yet, here we are. People are very forgiving. And that's the other part that agitates the shit out of me.
Yep.
It's like, if it were me or you, Dave, or Vinny or Eric or LA Pats or anybody else, if we were in that same situation and we did the same thing that was done, we would be drug out into public square and hung and stoned. And we would probably never be able to show our face again. People have to be held at the same standard across the board, no matter where you are in the hobby hierarchy. Soapbox, retract. I'm done. Anybody else care to chime in here? Yes, and I'm fired up. And I have been fired up since last Friday night. And I've been thinking about this, and I'm like, this chaps my ass. But I'm done.
Go, it's fucking bullshit. You strong arm somebody because you fucking don't know the price on a card when you're constantly on fucking your phone with all these other stupid douchebag apps that you're fucking constantly sucking turds out of their asshole to try to get on their show, to try to become some fucking influencing hobby hierarchy bullshit fucking pioneer, which you're not. It's fucking bullshit. To get the free pass for most people afterwards, it's even worse. Steve said it. If I did this, I wouldn't even get drug out in the town square. I'd be shot on sight. I've had this happen before. I've said it before. My Omar Vizquel printing plate was a $5 box find. 5 for $20, so I got it for $4. I sold it within 2 weeks because I sent it out to a good friend in Vegas. He's a big seller on eBay. He's like, I'll sell it for you. I've got 10,000 feedback. I've known him for 10 years. Here, you sell it. Within 30 minutes, it sold for $1,000. It's not my fucking job. It's not anybody's fucking job to price out your inventory. That's not our fucking problem. That's not our concern. If you have some price on it, and I don't care, you sit there and you espouse bullshit after bullshit. I'm a 90s basketball guy. Well, obviously, you fucking aren't. Because if you saw that for $1,300, you yourself, asshole, would have bought it yourself. And then trying to flip the script and say, oh, well, no, this wasn't this and this wasn't that. And then making up all these outlandish fucking allegations that you're going to come after somebody with your legion of minions. Oh, fucking hell you would. This is stupid fucking middle school shit. We've heard this shit fucking on here for the better part of over a decade. I'm going to show up at nationals and we're going to beat you up. The fuck you are? What are you going to do? Are you going to go to the police? Are you going to get a lawyer? Oh, you're going to blast them on Instagram. Oh, and ruin. But, as is the case with everything, especially these titillating situations and stories and dramas, there's 3 sides to every story. So when you put yours out there, okay, random other dude, you purchased it. In a courtroom, you've had your say. The soapbox has retracted. Your defense. And you put your scenario out there. Well,
Something else to consider. And I don't mean to cut you off, Dave, but this kind of sparked in my head too. As I was thinking through a lot of this in preparation for, the show, I'm like, and that's part of the reason, one of the main reasons why I wanted to catch Friday with Carlos and everybody, because I had a feeling it was going to be brought up.
Mm-hmm.
So I was interested to get everybody else's take and their thoughts, some of the questions that may have arisen and things along those lines. At the end of the day, how do we know that said buyer didn't ask the guy after he quoted him a price, are you sure?
Mm-hmm.
Are you positive? Asking for that clarification before proceeding with making a deal. Most people are always going to know going in to buying a card potentially what comps are. Unless it's PC or anything else, if they're looking to buy cards to sell later, most of them have an idea.
Mm-hmm.
But who's to say it wasn't, are you positive? Are you sure? Well, when somebody asks you those questions, don't you think that ought to click in your head? Maybe I ought to check in on this. Maybe I want to look at this. Maybe I want to, hey, you know what? Let's go ahead and wait until he comes back. It's communication. But anyways, Dave, I'll let you finish. It's one of those I wanted to throw out there as well, that we weren't there for the interaction, so we don't know the full scope of what transpired either.
Yeah, when again, the other side of the story is told, and again, 3 sides. 3 sides. Oh, yeah, that's the thing. And it's not really power, it's perceived power within the hobby, which there isn't. There's very, very, very few people that I'd say would have quote-unquote power. Unfortunately, Golden would be one of them, because again, what he's doing obviously has Elon Musk to the moon, Doge, Logan Paul, which eventually I'll talk about him a little later, with his record-setting, whatever the hell it was, Pokemon Pikachu card, $275,000. Money, in that sense, to most equals power. It shouldn't, but it does. So those are two guys that I would say. And then again, for better or heavy on the worse, our good friend up in Canada, Mr. Drake. When you're pumping out whatever 14 cases of Flawless, those aren't Tops blasters from fucking Walmart. So to pull up to the curb with that kind of, you're not in the hobby per se, but that's going to give the aura of power, because you've got that kind of financial clout. But being a fucking how many time over music award winning for whatever the deaf, they must like him a lot, but rapper, you should probably have a few dollars to your name, and hopefully you're saving some, because to buy into that stuff right now is pretty stupid. Anyway, I digress.
And Ty, the answer to that is that does have a lot to do with it. It goes in like subs, followers, same situation, depending on what platform you're referring to.
Yeah. But to see the guy that picked up the Jordan have the retort after Floating Head decided to start flexing his Popeye or olive oil muscles, saying, hey, I'm offering a Joe Burrow card that's, again, I don't know if it's going to be as desirable. At the same time, to 10, a red ink auto, I think graded 10.
It has upside potential.
To offer that, it's like, well, then that's more than I would have done. He would have gotten a big fuck you, not my problem. You want to call me on the carpet? Do it live on your show, me next to you. Not, oh, we're dueling like this right now, like everyone's on different streams. No, we're in the same room. You want to call me out? Let's see how you handle adversity instead of having time to fucking put it out there. I want to see you in the moment when there's a fight or flight. I know what's going to happen. But for him to offer that card, again, a comp at whatever, $3,000, $3,200, whatever the case may have been, and that was back during the run in, I think, January. But let's say it's $2,000. That's $2,000 that you didn't get because you're a fucking idiot. For somebody that's doing all these auctions, showing these shows of auctions, all 90s basketball, all great inserts and parallels, for that not to be, hey, I've said I'm a Jordan guy. How the fuck do I not know that's a deal? Where's my synapse that says I might want that card if it's only that much? Yes, this is true. So for me, it questions the actual intelligence of the hobby overall, of the one that strong-armed him. Because if you say something and this blatantly shows you have no clue, you're as bad as the people you promote, you want to rub elbows with. The guys out of Atlanta, the dudes out of New Jersey, the Lake Tahoe golf guy that loves Aaron Rodgers, that wears his 8th grade clothes all the time. You're as bad as these people that don't have a fucking clue about what's going on. Instead of doing that, saying shit, they need to shut their mouths. You want to do something, a man to man. It was on the Whatnot platform, and I think Chris, his wife, and the ever incomparable and always entertaining with quick retorts. It disservices my collection of the greatest Marlins pitcher of all time, Josh Johnson, one of the hobby stalwarts that if you can't fall asleep to Lake Superior waves, listen to one of his podcasts. I'm shocked they weren't there. I'm shocked they weren't there to rise up behind him. But everything's done over the fucking internet. Everything's done in a DM. He goes up to him saying, hey, that's not what we're going to do. Well, that's what I want. Well, that's good luck. And then you, instead of saying, well, we need to settle this, you get all huffy. The dude walks away. Then you start your fucking like plot. That's a fucking bitch move. That's for pussies. I'm not saying violence, but I'm saying if you've got problems with somebody, talk to them. Don't talk through something to them. But that's the problem of today. You wouldn't be able to do that. Like I've said, it's been said so many times. I remember on Beckett Message Board, some guy, 07, made a post about me, wanting to meet me at National and kick my ass. I said, man, you show up there, it's not backing down time. I don't give a shit. I'm not as angry as I am now and grumpy as I am now. But at the same time, I'm not going to sit there and fucking let some dipshit. You want to talk at me? Come on. We're going to get some ludicrous going. I'm going to throw them bows. Fuck you. I don't care. And that's the way it should be. Because hand in hand, this went with something that happened to Naomi at school too. So I'm like, fuck, we like to talk about our families once in a while. Talk about the hobby. 5 minutes out of every fucking podcast, maybe. So she got pushed over at fucking school. I've told her before. I said, somebody pushes you, you rise up right away, fucking jack them. Punch them, drop them. I don't care. Because you know what? People see that shit. They see, and if you don't do anything, you're a fucking target. I'll deal with principals. I'll deal with teachers. I'll fucking deal with all that bullshit. Some DMX, I think, would be another. That'd help propel me over the edge.
Break stuff. Limp Bizkit.
Limp Bizkit. The only thing Fred Durst did that was worthwhile. But I said, anybody does that to you again, this is your one off the hook. Because I know I told her 2-3 years ago. So pre-COVID, she's probably forgotten. Now that's happened, I said, it's your one off the hook. And again, probably parents out there fucking telling me to shut the fuck up. I'm being a bad dad. Fuck off. Hope you never have kids again. If they do that again and you don't do something about it, I will be more pissed at you. Because you need to defend yourself. You need to defend your name. You have to defend your honor. Not to get all fucking medieval and bullshit. But that's what you need to do. You can't let others see you're weak. When there's no reason for you to be weak. If somebody dies, if there's pain, great sorrow, be weak. Show emotion. Because somebody pushed you down. No. They need to see the fighter in you. And I will deal with all the consequences. Believe me, I don't care. I don't like people. I don't want to fucking hear inclusivity. Everybody's welcome here. Some kind of culture like that.
I hope everybody was sitting down. Dave just came out and told us all that he hates people. That is earth-shattering. Oh,
and
wow.
the podcast. That's it. The last episode.
Yep. Mic drop.
So I said, from now on, if I ever hear any of that bullshit goes on, again, it was the old, it wasn't like the flat tire or whatever the kids call it. Like you step on the back of the foot and it was like the old, you'd kick the fucking side of their foot when they're walking, so they go like that and fall. And I'm like, motherfucker, she doesn't do that. She deserved that? Sure. She fucking isn't like me. I said, you've got half of me in you. There should be fucking anger. There's enough anger to punch some people in the face and say, fuck you. I said, you can swear all you want at them. I will not get mad. I will get mad if you don't defend yourself. So that's where the bullying came in with Floating Head and his fucking trying to strong arm and the hobby hierarchy, and I'm going to get my friends. Your friends don't even have fucking dicks. They're not going to fucking do anything. They try to put out April Fool's videos, and they're the dumbest shit in the fucking world. These people are fucking human waste. Nobody's going to do anything. Nothing. Ever. They're going to sit in back and roll a joint. That's what they're going to fucking do from your stash.
Puff, puff, pass. Puff, puff, pass. Oh, sorry.
Fuck the fuck off. God fucking damn it.
Vinny, your take. Your take. Oh, geez. Oh, hold up. Everybody sitting down? Everybody sitting down. Everybody sitting down?
What's going on, guys? Hey,
We know. No, Bob has.
All right.
Do what?
Is my audio okay?
Yeah, it's perfect.
If it starts getting crackly or whatever, let me know. And it seemed to work if I go out and then come back. It seems to correct itself. So.
Okay.
No, so Vinny, we'll give you a chance, an opportunity to say your piece, because we know you have an opinion. We also know Bob has an opinion because, I heard bits and pieces of it at 2 times speed on, watching the replay. So I didn't catch all of it, but we'll let Bob come in and provide his opinion after you have the floor, sir. Soapbox extend.
Hey, Cuz, what's the price of that Jordan? I got somebody who wants to buy it. Okay, 3,200. Will you do 28? He'll do 28. Okay, let's make it happen. He'll do the 28. We'll take care of it. Thank you. I don't have cell reception. Will you take $5,400 for this card? Other scenario. Somebody wants to buy the Jordan card. I do not feel comfortable to sell the card. Could you please return to the booth? Thank you. Let me do it 1996 version. Hey, Lawrence, go on the fight payphone, put a quarter in there, buzz Nick on his pager, put 742. That's the code to come back to the table. When he gets it, he'll come back to the table and he'll give you a price on the card. Sound fair? 26 years of technology. Soapbox friggin' retract.
Well said.
I was 16 years old doing this and had more common sense than these yahoos do. 16 years old, watching dealers' tables with Michael Jordan rookies on it. And you're going to tell me about a fleb up like that? No, we don't do things like that. When you're moving weight at a table, if you don't have the skills to make what happen and given specific instructions, you got to wait till Sam comes back. You got to wait till Cuz comes back. You got to wait till Bob comes back. He'll be back in 10 minutes. He's getting a sandwich over at B10 or a piece of pizza at Village Pizza. He'll be back. You got some time? If it's that important to you. Retract
There's no excuse.
the soapbox.
There's no excuse in that situation.
I'm not getting on either side telling this person's bad, that person's bad. I'm telling you what should have went down. And if you can't get common sense to figure that out, to each their own. Thank you. Soapbox are checked.
Sandwich is good. Yeah, I mean, I can't simplify it any better than he did. I mean, how would you guys even, if somebody was just like, look, you can't get a hold of the guy. Would you pull the card, set it down here? If you felt like this person was really going to make an honest offer or was genuinely interested in it, do you think the person watching the table would know the person whose card that was well enough to say it'd be okay to kind of do that, to pull it out of the I mean, I've never how long, if somebody's walking around the show, you're going to leave your table. I mean, what's an hour? Would that be the most you think somebody might venture?
I think that would be pushing it. If you put forth the money to set up a table to sell, it's one of those in which, it's to run to the bathroom, to go grab something to eat real quick. It's one of those in which you have to put that in perspective. Not saying that may not be the norm of an hour potentially. To me, I think that would be pushing it, because you paid to set up there. Your whole objective is to sell stuff. Why do you want to spend time away from your table?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, if there's a social component that you're feeling like you're missing, or a network component you're feeling like you're missing, I mean,
don't set up.
Yeah, right. I mean, people are going to come to you. You're somebody that people will want to come see. So let the masses come to you. If you're there to make money, I'm not leaving. Okay, I'm not going to say I wouldn't leave to go to the bathroom, to get a bite to eat, or even to go say hi to somebody that I noticed. But I'm damn sure going to make sure whoever is left behind is going to know what to do.
Right. Well, and also on the flip side, and like I said, we all have to put this in perspective. And I know Dave is just chomping at the bit to say something, since he actually brought out a prop. But, it makes you wonder the relationship between the two individuals in allowing the one person to watch the table. You don't know what the stipulations were, what the expectation was. And,
Look at that.
Oh, alligator. Big time there, Bob.
Vintage, baby. Vintage.
But it's like, you don't know what that communication looked like between said dealer and the person who asked to watch the table. It's one of those in which there's some missing context in some of this, though, too. But to me, if I was a dealer, there would be only a small handful of people that I would bother to trust watching my crap. A small, select handful of individuals that I would, hey, you mind sitting here hanging out real quick? I need to go, use the facilities type situation. Or I'm starving, man. I need to go grab something to eat.
I would go ahead, finish your thought, dude.
No, I'm good. Go ahead.
So I'm curious to know, and I know this is an impossible question, but what else is in that case? That a card of that magnitude didn't sort of stand out, and like this needs special attention compared to what else? You know what I mean? Or was it filled with just multiple $1,000 cards? So
We don't know.
Yeah, right. And I just, man, there's so many questions.
The show it was at that whatever, that Mint Collective or whatever. So it's not going to be the show at Podunk Mall every third Saturday of each month.
Like the one I did.
So, therefore, if you want to say, hey, rando friend, I'll throw a few cards in there if something happens where there's a deal to be made, and call me. But I'm going to be traversing the floor with my Pelican case, with my bumper stickers and my business cards and my fucking whatever else I'm trying to give away, my bookmarks with my face on it, because God fucking knows my face isn't out there enough. Photo ops, I'm going to have a fucking life-size cutout because I don't have an ego. Do that. Because if Steve's trying to sell, say, 10 of the Topps Comeback PSA 10 for Kobe, I don't know what they are now, so we're going to use what we know of a while back. Let's say the $1,500 a pop. For some reason, there's like a $400 sticker on them. I'll take those for $400. But hold on. I'm not Mr. 90s basketball. I know some people that are. I should call them first, but I can't pick up my phone because obviously I'm using it for this technological broadcast. I'll pick up my remote. eBay app, Kobe Bryant 96 Topps PSA 10. Completed. Or 130point.com. Kobe Bryant Topps PSA 10. Oh, they aren't going for $400. They're going for about $1,350, close to $1,375. Well, hey Steve, you got some Kobe interest here, but your prices are off. You want to cut what you're doing short and come back? We got a customer here, perhaps. I'd rather have you talk to him or her or them or whoever instead of me being on the hook for a egregious error that I could have simply washed aside by not pretending I'm a fucking hobby know-it-all. Like Spike Lee did the right thing. But again, the aura of importance, the aura of I know all, the aura of I'm a hobby influencer took over. The hey, something doesn't seem right. So again, unlike Vinny, I will call people bad. I'll call people shit at their shots because they need to be told that. Not that they'd listen, not that they'd care. That's fine. I'm sure I'll do it twofold, tenfold back. That's fine. But to sit there and, again, strong arm people over cards, over errors you made. Nobody else made it. There's a price, a pop number on there. You're lucky you didn't sell it for $46. You'd say pop 46. I don't remember Coke being 46, but hey, $46 for the card, it's yours. No, again, don't blame somebody else. When you start blaming others, the blame comes back to you, or the realization that you're wrong comes back to you like a tsunami. And unfortunately, people forget about it in the hobby, and that's the one thing I don't get. The idiots that fucked over the dude on the Trevor Lawrence Kaboom Gold, They're still rocking and rolling, strutting and strolling. Nobody gives a shit. It's
Let me ask you
unbelievable.
this. So do you believe, or is there a chance? I don't really know either party involved in our scenario, but if do you believe it to be beyond somebody to, in a way, stake out booths, knowing whose booth it is, and then going up when that person isn't there to try to like have ill intent of like getting one over? I mean,
It's possible. There are crappy people everywhere, but I would think that would be the exception in the overall scheme of things. You Let's be real, and I will call myself out on this specifically. I've always said I'm a cheap ass. I want stuff. I have predetermined prices in my head. I'm not willing to go over. I'm cheap. Okay. Yes, I'm going to be looking for the deal in that situation. However, those that have ill intent have bigger nefarious things that they're going after. Mine is not nefarious. I'm just a cheap bastard. That's who I am. But people are always going to try and find the best bang for their buck. And for those that do it for nefarious reasons, i.e., what you alluded to, I'm willing to bet there's a small handful of people that are probably exactly like that. They've been to enough shows, they've seen enough showcases, they've seen enough people, and it would always be possible in which they would try and take advantage of a situation. However, I would think most people who step away from their stuff and let somebody monitor and sit and hang, they feel confident enough to where they're not going to allow for something to go down.
Mm-hmm.
Either they know the hobby, they know what to look for, they've been given some sort of guide. Price tag is $400. Somebody offers you three, and you counter with $350, and they say $325. You let it ride. There could be some sort of context around what ability somebody has to do, but for something of when you're talking, comma cards, as we like to refer to them at times, even if it were me watching somebody's table, I don't want to be the person to make a decision for somebody. It's not my stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I have enough resources at hand to be like, yeah, no, this you're looking to try and score like you think I don't know what the F I'm doing because you've never seen me before, or you've never seen this person's table type situation. You know that there are people out there like that. It's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's no different. People are out there trying to sell fake slabs or fake cards or counterfeit cards. They're everywhere. People are always going to try and take advantage of the situation. And it's unfortunate. And that's truly where the community comes into play, is looking out for one another and making sure that people don't fall to stuff like that.
But again, the show it was at was supposed to be some industry, the hobby hierarchy. It was supposed to be all these fucking geniuses.
The who's who.
So that's where it's like, if somebody's trying to get one over there, it's like you're really trying to do due diligence. But I'm guessing, like I said, it's not the fucking Podunk County Mall, and the one guy's got the hockey. It's like, okay, I know I'm going to be there for a bit. I'll glance at everything else just to see what's going on. There's Beanie Babies. There's fucking whatever else going on. It's like, no, you're going to see banger after banger, as the children would say. So I don't know if you would see somebody scoping it out.
So what
Like,
about the other side of it? Like, as a buyer, the ethical, quote unquote, responsibility, knowing that card, you know, a card that a number that was quoted to you is well under recent comps. Going through the purchase, you know, with a clean conscience, as it were.
That's what I mentioned before. I don't price out. Like, if you had something, again, and I didn't know you from Joe, and you had an Austin Meadows Black Phoenix out of Panini Prism, which is the king of all cards, and it was $20, a 101, I'd be like, I'll take it and whatever. I know it's probably worth more than that. I don't know. Would there be something, part of me like, man, that fucker's dumb. But in the same sense, I'm like, I didn't price it. He put the $20 sticker on there. I can't control it. I mean, I can't. I mean, you can
pay a little more.
Yeah. I mean, you'd be like, oh.
Since when is it a consumer's responsibility to make sure something is priced correctly?
Never. If you feel comfortable buying it, you feel comfortable buying it. If you don't. If the deal seems too good to be true, especially for a sports card, then you're like, I gotta jump in and get this. Because for most of us that have been in the hobby for any length of time, guess what? We've all had cards that we've either sold too early or we've bought at the wrong time. Because it was just, man, I need to get this. It's a $600 card now. I'm getting it for $550. A year later, it's $75. Not saying like, oh man, that's the justification, but at the same time, it's like, I will always stand behind that. I don't price your inventory. You sell it to me what you felt comfortable selling it to me for. If that's the way our transaction transpired, if you're upset about it, don't. There are plenty of tools out there. If you want to go off Beckett, hey, 1996 called. They don't care. 130 point eBay, a list of friends and what they think it might be worth. Yeah, the David Ortiz new Beckett doesn't matter. They don't care. Tracy Hackler doesn't care anymore. You don't care.
LA Pats, that was part of the discussion that, you know, on Carlos's show that also got brought up as an aspect of this whole situation scenario. If you find a $100 card, or you know you search through a value box and there are dollar cards, and you stumble across one that's $100, is it like some? And then you turn around and resell it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was going to use that example of like, you know, something that's not numbered, but it's some parallel or it's got some, you know, something about it that a savvy collector knows makes it ultra rare or something. You know what I mean? I see stuff like that all the time. I hear stories like that. You know, this guy didn't know what he had.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't at that point enlighten him on what he had, and you know, pay more for it.
Yeah. I mean,
it's all based on your own moral compass. At the end of the day,
I feel like I got a pretty strong moral compass, and I had no problem. You know what I mean? I know you're not going to attack me, but
yeah, no, I'm not calling you out, Bob. It's one of those in which it's like, at the end of the day, if you are still okay with the situation scenario
Go ahead.
and you're able to sleep at night, then who's to say you're right or wrong? You know what I mean?
Sure.
It's at the end of the day, and this is why I said early on, I can argue both sides. I seriously, I can. Because in this situation, there really is no right or wrong answer as it pertains to the transactional aspect of it.
But afterwards,
It's the afterwards that we were focusing on, which is the root of the problem that we were trying to focus. I can also sit there and say, I feel like I have a very strong moral compass as well. I go to Walgreens every day to buy cigarettes. There's a lot of times in which they've forgotten to scan one of the packs of cigarettes. I know what the prices are. Hey, you only scanned one. Yeah, I could have walked away and gotten a free pack of cigarettes, but it's one of those in which, to me, that's theft. This is not theft. Not to mention, we don't have the whole entire situation as it pertains to that interaction. We don't know how the back and forth went, what the questions were. We don't have that bit of context. And I don't think we'll ever get that bit of context, which is why in this situation, there is no right or wrong answer. It's whatever you feel to be right in your mind, in your feelings. Just because somebody says that what the guy did was wrong, I'm not gonna say, well, why do you say he's not wrong? Or why do you say he is wrong?
Mhm.
It's all about the context behind your point. If you have a good reasoning as to why you think they're wrong or they're not wrong, then you know what? I can respect somebody's opinion. But I'm not going to call them out on the carpet. Like I said, the bigger issue with all of this is not the transaction itself. It's about what happened afterwards. And that's the part that's
which is pretty documented. There's no
Yes.
real, yeah.
Yeah, it's out there for everybody to see.
Right.
You can't argue. It is in black and white that we know exactly what took place. So, and we could beat this dead horse even more. And to be brutally honest, my blood pressure is finally starting to reduce after my initial diatribe, because I was the first one to go on this. We're coming up on the 2-hour mark. We have 2 other subjects to cover real quick. Vinny, I'll let you chime in here in just a second. So we'll do our final kind of thoughts on this one, and let's move on to something a little bit more positive. So, Vinny, go ahead.
Think about this. They all say how much you got into it. How do I know that you're selling for $13.25 because you only put $400 into it? You're making a $925 profit. I'm leaving some meat on the bone per se for you, as they say. And that's why it's marked the way it's marked. Just a hypothetical.
How does he not know that the seller is in a position in life where he really just needs to unload as much as possible? So he's pricing it to sell immediately.
Mhm.
Bingo. Because this is their own words against them. How much you got in it? Because they persistently ask that question.
So 2
In
things.
this case, it couldn't be asked, but it's just a thought about this whole process.
No, agreed.
They created this world. Now they have to live in it.
Agreed. And that is definitely something to keep in mind as it pertains to the whole situation scenario. I was going to ask who the heck Vivi was, Ed, but you corrected yourself. We'd like to welcome Vivi to the panel. Hey, better half. I am going to say this. I love it, Bob. So here's a question for you. Are you gonna ship that to the two of us and let us autograph it?
So I do have some questions for the crew as to one final piece I want to incorporate into it. We don't have to take time on the show. We can, of course, but I had mentioned that, and then just the conversation never really got to happen. So it's not done yet. You'll have to autograph it in person.
Okay, we'll figure that out. We can wrap up the show with that question because we can also get the feedback of everybody who's still hanging out. So it'll actually be an IRP decision. How's that? Sound good?
I like it.
So one clarification though, and this is, and maybe I misunderstood part of this, and I'm unsure if this is taken into consideration with some of the opinions. Supposedly the labels were the pop count and an inventory number, not a price. So if that is in fact the case, then does that change the opinions of what anybody has said? Personally, I don't think it does. Because for most people, I can't speak for everybody, but usually price tags have a dollar symbol. Maybe that's not a thing at card shows anymore. I don't know that if there's a number on it, it's automatically assumed to be the price. And that could be a misunderstanding, though, of the individual who ended up watching the table. I just wanted to throw out that bit of information because I want to say I remember reading that as well as part of where it originated from. Mistook this as a price instead of, but as we've all pretty much said, there's this thing right here called technology. Use your head. And that's pretty much my final point. At the end of the day, use your head. I mean, come on. Information is at everybody's fingertips. There really is no excuse.
If that was the inventory number, it's on the seller and it's on the person watching the booth. Because there wasn't enough what? Communication.
Key piece of information.
Shocking, I know. But again, it doesn't change the fact at all. Communicate. You're too busy seeing the hey everybody or whatever his catchphrase is at the beginning. Hello, idiots. You see him and I need to get a photo op. I gotta take a shit because I ate greasy burgers all fucking day. It doesn't matter. Communicate. If you haven't communicated up until that point, saying, and that should be the other guy that's watching the booth. Hey man, what are these numbers here? What do these mean? Is that the price or what do we got going on? It's a question. Not I need to make a story for Snapchat, Instagram, whatever the fuck it is. We've said it. Transparency, communicate. Two very simple things, but two things that are very tough to find. In the quote unquote, hobby hierarchy. You use that
community.
If you think you're part of that hobby hierarchy, you're on the upper level, you know what you do? Vinny, you know what you do? You stuff a piece of goo in their mouth and fucking put them in a bag, dump them in the river. Hashtag allegedly.
I like this one. I like this one right here.
Yep.
That sums it up. I think that's a good exclamation point on this one. So Dave, do we want to do MLB preview or do we want to wait and cover that one off maybe next week or the week after because we'll be getting closer to the season starting? When is opening day, by the way?
Thursday.
Okay. So I guess we can touch on both. I don't have much to say on the MLB side because My team still sucks. I really don't care.
They spent some money this year, though. They spent a little money.
You know, I don't want to say I have high hopes, but you know, it's still one of those in which
I've
it's
got
still
high hopes.
it's still it is what it is. You know, you and Bobby for sure are bigger on the baseball side. You know, Vinny is definitely above me when it comes to that because you know the only reason why I've really done anything baseball related is because I haven't been able to find any football crap, to be honest, because it gives me something to do. But I'll leave it up to a vote, if you don't mind, Dave. I'll kind of throw it out there to the folks hanging out. Do we want to do a WrestleMania recap and let Dave have the floor for, let's say, 10 minutes? Could you handle it in 10 minutes, Dave?
Oh, easy.
Okay. Or do we talk MLB preview and potential predictions and get Bob's true feeling and opinion about what transpired with Austin Meadows? Because we got to make sure we cover that off since Bob is here. So we'll give it a few minutes. Everybody put in the chat. We want to go WrestleMania for Dave for 10 minutes. I can say a few things. Or do we go baseball first and then we'll finish up with wrestling talk and then Bob's question as far as the final touches on his print. So not everybody answer at once now.
Yeah.
We're giving you an opportunity to dictate what's next on the topic tree here.
I think everybody's so excited. Everybody's too excited. They're just mashing their keyboards. Like, no, just type regularly. Just not.
Wrong, Austin. Austin Meadows.
I have to talk about the lowest rung. I have to mention him.
Not Austin Matthews. Austin Meadows.
Or Austin Powers. Not them either.
There's that too.
Like Mad Barbie, yeah.
You telling me nobody has an opinion? Nobody cares? Maybe nobody cares.
That's probably the thing.
Hey, Ty responded. Baseball then wrestling, so we have one for baseball. Bob, do you have a preference? Bobby says wrestling.
I would be mostly a listener on the wrestling, but I am curious to hear somebody that can speak intelligently on it. Well, at least knowledgeably. Baseball, that could be another half hour. You know what I mean? So
no, we still have to cut it short. We're not going 3 hours. So we have a time. We have a time schedule here. Let's go baseball.
You got more baseball?
Yeah, more baseball. Said more baseball than wrestling. So let's go baseball. There you go. So Dave, kick off the baseball conversation. Rangers suck. They're gonna suck. They're gonna be in last place. They wasted all that money. I'm done. Thank you. Good night.
And they gave up picks too. I think they still did with like Seager and Simeon. And maybe even Jonathan Gray. But the home state team, Twins, if they can get any semblance of starting pitching, which I think is key pretty much throughout the league, just like offensive line play for fucking football. You need at least 3 good starters, 3 solid 7 inning, 6.5 inning, 6 1/3 inning starters. Wins, I don't know if they've got that. Twins lineup, it's fucking good. Adding Correa, pretty much like an RKO out of nowhere. That was huge, especially after making all those other trades. Where you trade Garver to Texas, so at least you'll have a catcher down there that fucking can hit 25 home runs. For that Isaiah Falefa, Kiner, or whatever. But then trading him and Donaldson right away to the Yankees for Ursula and Gary Sanchez, where you thought Sanchez was going to get flipped right away. Doesn't look that way yet. I think they build his stock back up, and maybe they part with him if they're in the tank again. Phillies. I got a couple Philly guys, and we got a couple Philly guys in here. I say if Alec Baum rehashes his rookie year instead of last year, if Mikey Moniak does something even resembling a number 1 overall pick, if I think of that Stott, that the shortstop, if he overtakes Gregarious, and again if their bullpen, the stars seem to be there. Again, you got a true ace in Nola. I don't even know who else I got. I don't have my handy book. And I haven't followed anything because you have transactions before December 1st, and then this last month has been literally the best and the worst sports month of the year because it's just been so much shit going on. You have football free agency, you have March Madness, you have baseball transactions firing right up right away. You got wrestling season to WrestleMania. It's just so much shit going on. Yeah, you're gonna have a lot of Matt Stairs type moments out there. A lot of DH is playing the outfield, and it won't be good. But again, in that division, all you're gonna have to do is compete with Atlanta. I don't think the Mets are gonna do anything. I never do. Washington's going to regress huge, even with Sodist. Marlins might win 8 games.
Do you think the Angels will make the playoffs?
As long as Trout doesn't play. Sorry, I couldn't help myself.
It's going to depend on if they stay healthy. And I know that's the cop-out answer. But when Trout only plays like 38 games, when you sign Syndergaard, who was pitched, 4 innings the last year and a half, you release Justin Upton, you're on the hook for $28 million for him. If you can just outright cut a guy and pay him nearly $30 million. And Rendon, who played probably a third of the season last year, 2/5, somewhere in there. If any of these guys can be healthy for 120 to 140 games, who knows? They can make the Oakland ain't making the fucking playoffs. And if you don't have Texas, really, they're coming up. But Seattle looks like the team right now to beat in the West. Houston, they're there too. But again, Verlander, what's he going to perform? How's he going to do? He's coming off Tommy John. Angels have as good a chance as anybody in that West. It's not like it used to be where Oakland's like, okay, it's our division. Oakland's like the Pittsburgh of the AL. I mean, they
win.
Not this year.
Not this year?
No. If they won 75 games, I'd be stunned.
It takes me like a month to realize all the players that are on new teams.
Mm-hmm.
I can't follow it. But I listen to a lot of games. So I'm always like, wait a minute. I didn't know. I heard, the Fox Crew cards are doing their contest, their prediction contest, which I have my answers here, but I didn't realize Scherzer went to the Mets. Not only did he go to the Mets, his 1-year salary is more than the entire Pittsburgh Pirates salary, which is just incredible.
And probably the A's, because there's, I think, about 4 or 5 that are.
We're third from the bottom at $37 million. There was another with $37 million and a couple less 100,000, and then there's somebody at the bottom. It's maybe Baltimore and.
It's Oakland. They're like at 31 or 32 million.
No, they're. I just looked this up. I'm not trying to prove you wrong, but I'll just do a quick search real quick.
Because I think Garrett Cole was in there with a bigger salary. Scherzer.
He's doing it to prove you wrong, dude. Just accept it.
Well, no, I just want to speak. Yeah, so I am not. You are right. I am wrong. I apologize. It is the Orioles, A's, Pirates, then Cleveland. I thought Cleveland was down there, but that's coming up in the bottom. 30 million. Oh, so this did just change recently. Did the A's move somebody or they dump some money somehow?
Sean Manaea went to San Diego.
All right, so that bumped them down. Yeah, 30 million for the Orioles, 32.5 for the A's. Pirates are 37.8. There was Andy Van Slyke was on. They had him on the afternoon show today on the Sports Talk, and always opinionated for sure. And he just can't wrap his head around. Like they asked him, what's one thing you would, if you had Manfred's ear, what's one thing you would change? And it was the idea that, the Pirates get all this money from other teams. I forget what rule comes under, what it's called or whatever, but then they just pocket the money. Like they should be required to put it back into the team.
That revenue sharing.
Right. That's tough one to swallow I can't justify that at all as a fan of one of these teams. I don't know, man.
I know that's the thing. It's like you get the money from the TV deal because all these other teams fucking make the Dodgers, the Cardinals, the Yankees, the Mets, Cubs, Sox, all of them make a ton of money. And then you get competitive balance picks in the draft, depending on, again, I don't know where all that lies, but you get between the first and the second, you get between the second and the third, and I think that's it. I don't know if it's between or if it's after the third at all, but you get all these bonus picks, and that's what your boy Meadows got traded for.
Yep.
From Detroit. When these picks, it's like, okay, at least they're using that pick to pick up a proven commodity. Again, it's not like you're picking up Pujols in his prime, but at the same time, you fill an obvious need because they just lost their star draft pick of a few years ago, that Riley Green that was supposed to be playing center field. So you shift somebody over. Now Meadows is going to be playing in either right or left, wherever. Again, I don't know where he plays, but I know it's the outfield. And I know it's not center.
He's probably going to be DHing a lot. He's dealing with like an oblique deal right now, so they'll probably keep him his field activity to him. But he can play both corners. Yeah, he's not really. I think he's only got like 18 games in center field.
So I mean, that's at least you're putting somebody. You're saying, okay, we'll use this pick we're getting, and they've picked up a lot of players too. Detroit's trying to rebuild. Finally, after
coming up. I'm just looking at the Detroit roster for the first time. The only person they have listed for first base is Torkelson.
Yep, because again, Cabrera's probably going to be DH only. He can't do anything out there. So you've got Baez. You signed that Rodriguez, the pitcher from I think Boston, that used to play in Baltimore. You've got some pieces there.
Tucker Barnhart.
Yeah, they got him from the Reds in their annual 3-year fire sale. So at least they're spending. You're using these picks to pick up proven commodities instead of always going for these players that are, we need to allocate the draft pool money. We need to be thrifty with fucking pick the best talent. You're gonna trade them anyway, so at least pick them and groom them, and then ship them out. Instead of picking, this guy is supposed to go the middle of the first round. We're picking him 1 overall. Well, why? Well, he's the signability.
The Pirates used to do that all the time, man.
Oh, I know. Tony Sanchez.
Mike has an interesting question or statement. Guess it goes on brand with that organization.
We're building something, though. We're building something. You got to tear it down to build it back up. And now they're talking about, like, there's been some serious Brian Reynolds trade rumors to the Padres or something. You know what? Like, that'll be a tough one to swallow because really, I mean, they're trying to model the Rays and just, like, rotate these prospects in like 3 or 4 years and get them out. and like just try to catch lightning in a bottle. Like one year, it all comes together with prospects and people. Pirates is a kind of yeah. He man, but they're a profitable team, so it's like if you don't care about the product, but you really like making money. I mean, the Pirates owners have got a pretty good gig going on. I'm salty about it all, but I really do. I'm just trying to put that to the side, and because I know the farm system has got a lot of, again, prospects, but I can see things coming together. Like I gave them 5 years from the time that Sherrington took over, so this is year 2. Wait, no, this is year 3, I think. But still, like it's gonna take some time.
It will never
It's
end.
not even about having the players; it's about developing them too. You know what I mean? So
No, you're good, and they won't spend, and that's the problem because you're going to have to overpay to get free agents there, and you're not going to be getting the marquee free agents because it's Pittsburgh. It's not Pittsburgh of like 8 years ago when you had Marte, Polanco, McCutcheon, all this talent where it's like, okay, this team's coming up. It's that finally we're going to start seeing Pittsburgh at the top of the NL Central. Let's trade these guys away and then let's have Polanco pretty much fall off the face of the earth and fucking crater in every category each year. I mean, it just, I don't know. You want to see them do well because I love the Pittsburgh colors. I love the history there, but man, they just it's the old Price is Right game where the yodeling dude. It's like they get to they're right there and it's like oh, and then it just they don't come back. They don't fucking come back. You have these top 5, top 10 picks, and it's like these guys on the precipice of being something and trade them away. Why? They're not making anything. It's not like Brian Reynolds has like a 5-year, under $20 million contract. He's fucking making $6-7 million, maybe.
He was asking for 4.9. They took him to arbitration because they had 4.3. $600,000. Your best player, a guy who was arguably a top 30 player the last 3 years. It's crazy.
They trade with cash. The cash is the big thing for them. And they don't take, like Bob said, they don't take that $2 million that they get with trading somebody and say, let's put a war chest together to get us Sotis and whoever. No, that goes to the owner and he gets a new Ferrari.
Tatis.
Or Tatis. I've never seen a baseball organization that was bought for like $300,000 or $300 million that's worth $1 billion. Dude, sell out, sell it for $1.3 billion, make $1 billion, and let somebody come in there that's going to put together a team that we could be proud of and win. It could be crap for the next 10 years. As long as the ownership doesn't do this constantly, I would feel a lot better. I'd rather have them play Oakland Moneyball than do this. Something's got to give. And Mark Cuban wanted to buy him. Not my first choice, but Lord, anything's better than this. This is just every year. It's just like a kick in the teeth.
They on DVE. They do, and Vinny knows DVE. They do like a comedy morning radio bit. Like Bob Nutting will call into the show, and he tries to use baseball words, but he just is like he's so aloof and has no idea what he's talking about with anything related to baseball. And that's kind of like the impression you get from him. Yeah, just they told a story of they were at some kind of event and Nutting was there, and it's like, do you remember the Can't Hardly Wait movie where like it got all quiet and somebody yelled something, the F word at me, like somebody in there called me a. Well, it was that, except like quiet moment and just like jag off, like nobody has any respect for this man whatsoever. And Pittsburgh, I mean, 2013, they're still talking about the Reds game, like that stadium was electric. Like Pittsburgh can be such a baseball town and have everybody on board with what's it's right there for the taking. It's like they don't care, man. I don't know.
They have all the pieces. Beautiful stadium, fans that would fill the seats. But why are we going to go watch our heads get kicked in unless it's some superstar from another team we're going to watch?
That's it. I mean, I like Colin Moran, but he ain't drawing too many ticket sales, He wasn't.
No, I don't know if he's on the team anymore. If they got rid of him too.
No,
I was looking through. I'm doing the Topps Living set of just the Pirate players. Not like aside from the retired people, of course, but like even all the star, like the today players of today, none of them are on the team anymore. Mitch Keller is still on the team. I'll give him that one. That's it.
It is what it is.
This is true.
Pain.
And you know what?
Pain.
I'll just end with this. No matter what, I'm sticking to it because eventually they're going to put something together, and I'm going to be that guy that's able to say I've been there the whole time.
Well, see, and that's kind of one thing that I wanted to point out at the end of the day. Pirates fans, it seems, no matter if they're good, bad, devoted fans, they're there day in and day out. They support the team regardless of the crap that's going on. Night, Bobby. But it's one of those in which I can't say I can relate, but it's even from like the Rangers' perspective, when they actually spent money, they actually did fairly well. They had runs. They won the AL West. They made it into the postseason. Yeah, they may have lost in the first round to the Yankees a lot of the time, and they never thought that they would get past it. But you got to spend money and put a team on the field that could jive and actually play ball. And when you do that, things can happen. But you gotta spend money. It's that way in every sport almost. So,
World Series pick.
World Series pick. I ain't giving you one.
Phillies and Blue Jays.
Phillies
I like
and Blue
it.
Jays.
I like the
And I'm
Toronto
not just
aspect.
saying because Micah was hanging out and Ed. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just trying to. It's gonna be somebody different for sure. I like that.
Toronto is stacked.
Oh,
It'd be hard pressed not to choose them.
White Sox look
National
pretty
League.
good. Maybe the Mets will do it. I don't know.
So
They
LA
just find
Pats.
a way. They just find a way to impose. Good point.
Dave, what's your prediction since you asked the question?
Toronto, Milwaukee.
All right.
Milwaukee has pitching. They got 2 studs, and they've got other pieces that are. If Braun can do anything, and I don't, but you might even be there. I don't even know. I could be talking on my ass. If Robin Yount and Paul Molitor and Jim Gantner come back,
Let's look at their roster real quick. Well,
Depends on how that's set up.
oh, that setup is the key. I mean, if that's like a 1-2-3, or if that's a 2-3-4, that setup is going to be the standard bearer for all to follow. Yelich, if he returns to any semblance of what he did down in as a Marlin, if he's a trash bag like he's been the last couple of years, it doesn't matter how that setup is. He's going to fucking be.
Lorenzo Cain, Andrew McCutcheon, Colton Wong, Hunter Renfroe. But the pitching, Brandon Woodruff, Corbin Burns, Josh Hader, closing, Willie Adames. I mean, some other names I recognize here, but nobody's like. I mean, is Keston Hiura still a thing?
He is, but not like he was a couple of years ago.
He's at the basement. He has a possible to hit a ceiling.
So he'll be on the Pirates soon. Is that what you're saying? I mean, we did get Dan Vogelbach from him. So.
Well, what happened the other day? That catcher from the White Sox, that younger guy, he got traded to Toronto too. Nick
Collins, Zach Collins for
Zach Collins or something.
Oh,
but that was because Toronto they were going to pretty much release McGuire because he was out of options, and Collins still has 1 year left of the shuttle between, I think, Buffalo and Toronto. So,
yeah.
And they've got such a fucking dearth of catching prospects. It's not like they miss him. So
This is true.
Hey Dave, there's an offer from Ty.
yeah, that's fine. I've got a couple of dudes from. I've got the triple threads, I think, to 9 or 10, and I think there's like the playoffs, like that box set with like the white background or the white card base, and then some with silver foil board, and I think I got something like that. That's a pretty low number too. So yeah,
Bo Bichette's only making $723,000.
and that's why they need to win in the next couple of years, because him, Vladimir, Biggio, all these guys, Teoscar Hernandez, all these guys are going to command huge raises. And you look at like Springer, I think Hung Jing Ryu is up there now.
Yep.
I mean, there's some big numbers up there too. So
Kikuchi's making $12 million. That's crazy.
Bless you.
Yeah, Jose Barrios, Hyun-Jin Ryu, some solid pitching.
So yeah, Toronto, Milwaukee, that'd be a fun series.
All right. 6.5 minutes. Go.
Cody Rhodes against Seth Rollins. That was great. Belair against Becky Lynch. Probably one of the best women's matches I've seen in years. Rousey, Charlotte Flair, not so much. So sort of clunky at the ending. Sets up a rematch. The women's tag.
Belair, of course, won on the championship too.
Yes. Regained it after Lynch came out at SummerSlam and beat her in 26 seconds. After having given birth to her and Seth Rollins' kid. Belair has a nice shiner in her left eye after taking a boot to the face from Lynch off the top rope. Trying to think. From Ring of Honor on Friday, FTR, Briscoes, one of the best tag team matches, at least in the last decade. Hopefully the Briscoes sign. There's, again, the Twitter stuff from a long time ago coming back to sort of haunt them. even though they've made amends and everybody that knows them have made amends. So Time Warner doesn't want to sign them. So AEW sort of boxed in a corner there, which would be fucking amazing on the AEW product, obviously. Then the Kevin Owens Stone Cold thing, it was what it was. Again, Stone Cold stomping a mud hole in Owens' ass didn't look great, but him taking a suplex on the JerryWorld floor on the concrete, I was pretty stunned with that. That at 57 years old, I don't think that'd be something I'd want to do, or I could get up from, as he did. Pat McAfee.
How'd you like that stunner on Vince McMahon? How horrible was that?
I knew that. I kept yelling at the TV, "Do not take a stunner, Vince. Please, please, please. No. I thought he was gonna break his fucking legs. It looked like one of those costumes that you're like riding the horse, or you're the horse, and then you've got the person with the legs that are just like sort of flopping in the front because your legs are like the horse's legs. I thought he was gonna land on Vince's legs and just fucking snap him. I'm like, I don't care how much you're lifting. It's all up here you're lifting. You're not fucking, there's no leg days anymore. So I knew that was going to be abysmal.
Oh yeah, that was horrendous. I saw that and I was like, wow, that was bad. I mean, that was bad.
I was just saying, he took it shitty way back when he was like Mr. McMahon out there every week. It was 1,000 times worse now. I like Triple H coming out. It sucks that he couldn't retire on his own terms. But coming out to night 2, thanking people, getting his one last intro in front of a WrestleMania crowd, putting his boots in the ring. Again, as much as they politic back in the day, that somebody, again, nostalgia driven. You either liked him, you still liked the music. If you came out, you fucking love Motorhead, listen to Lemmy. The tag team match, like Randy Orton and Matt Riddle. Again, it was what it was. Again, nothing spectacular. Usos, Nakamura. I've always said I've loved this guy since I found out about him and his like personality. Meeting him up in Toronto in 2015 when he's with New Japan. Then a year later, he went to WWE. His music, if you haven't heard it, it's fucking. Every time I hear it, I get goosebumps because you have electric guitar plus a violin in it, and it's amazing. Unfortunately, his tag team partner tore his quad. Like right away in the match, he's trying to do the Cena double stack, put them both on his shoulders, and the fucking quad gave out in his right leg. So I think they had to rush through that match to pull a pin quicker. Usos won, which I'm glad. I want to see that. I want to see the length, the long-term titles where you have to chase. Reigns beating Lesnar, it was a god-awful match, but again, I wanted that outcome. Because again, it doesn't do any good for Lesnar to win.
The whole unification aspect, it makes sense long-term.
Yep.
But, it's one of those in which I always scratch my head with some of the storylines of how what I would deem as quick title change.
Mm-hmm.
Lesnar really didn't have his for an extremely long period of time. But
at least
well, this is true. But it's no different, the streak with Undertaker type situation. There's certain things that make sense. And even with Goldberg being undefeated for as long as what he was, at the time, it made sense because of the dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, some of the things that kind of happen these days, I don't watch it as frequently enough to really follow the storylines and things along those lines. Honestly, I was surprised that Reagan won. because Lesnar just has that aura now as it pertains to WrestleMania. You know, he's the one who ended the streak, and so there's that added aura around him surrounding WrestleMania. So I was a little bit surprised that was the outcome, and I only know the outcomes because I didn't watch any of it. But of course, I am curious. Any of the big pay-per-views, I do go and look at what transpired and what happened and so on and so forth because I am interested. But for the most part, I stopped watching it because I always talk about the heyday and things, but the Attitude Era for me in wrestling, that's when I was all in. Nowadays, it doesn't intrigue me as much, I guess, because the stories aren't as intertwined and as well thought out, in my opinion. So.
Logan Paul going on there, he fucking looked, again, if you haven't watched it and you got a chance to, he impressed a lot of people. Again, he's a fighter, obviously with all the boxing shit that's been going on the last, year, 18 months or so. His athleticism and him, again, he's a natural heel. Absolutely 100%. And I mean, he was playing that to a fucking T. He did the Eddie Guerrero, Three Amigos, suplexes on Rey Mysterio. Then he did the frog splash plus like the Latino beach shimmy of Eddie Guerrero on the top. And man, people were just fucking gobbling that up. They were just booing the piss out of him. But then Miz turned on him at the end. Because the Miz is that guy. He wants the spotlight for him. And I knew it was coming. You don't stand there in the ring and hold each other's arm up for fucking 3 minutes. You know something's coming. And I don't have a problem with it. But I just don't want to see Logan Paul as a face because that's Randy Orton as a face. It's not realistic. So that was good. And again, people shit on this. Not a lot, though. What I read, some people were like, "That's terrible." The Sami Zayn, Johnny Knoxville match. You knew this isn't going to be a fucking Bob Backlund, Bruno Sammartino, Macho Man, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat match. You knew that. This isn't any fucking thing that. These are not tales that have been told out of school. You knew this shit. People ripping on it. I'm like, who cares? You need those matches that you have to say, fuck, I don't give a shit. If you're a true wrestling fan, you don't give a fuck about Knoxville. You know what you do? You go take a dump. You fucking go get another beer. You fucking buy your merch. You just go walk around because you're fucking sitting down other than cheering when somebody comes out.
It's filler.
Yeah. It's been on there since Wrestle fucking Mania 1. Mr. fucking P. I mean, this isn't anything that's new. So, again, I love it. When I see fucking Chris Pontus out there, I'm fucking laughing because I'm like, motherfucker, I haven't watched any of this shit for over a decade. All I wanted to see was Preston Lacey. Because, again, can't see Bam. But then Wee Man comes out. And I'm like, oh, fuck. I'm laughing because it's like, that's what you need. And you need something to decompress off of almost the drama, the suspense. Like, what great action. That's what you want, but at the same time, you need something where you're just like, who fucking cares? You need something to just lighten the mood. And that was a good mood lightener.
Yeah, it's filler. But that's the way it's always been. It will continue to be.
Yeah. Because people like it. They laughed. You even hear people booing, you're fucking laughing. And that's what you want.
Yep.
And the gimmick, the mousetrap gimmick to fucking pin Zayn, I mean, it's been done before in other wrestling organizations. Again, not major one, but it's been done. It's funny. It's laughable. It goes with his character. If this was Lesnar losing like that, then you'd fucking be mad. That's stupid. It's Sami Zayn who always gets into some sort of comical mischief. It's fun.
Yep.
And then I'll say with last night's Raw, I don't know how much anybody watches now, but Elias, he'd come out and sort of sit on the stage, play the acoustic guitar. Who wants to walk with Elias? They basically shaved his beard. He sort of looks like a human version of, I think it's Stu Pickles from. I'm trying to think of the show, Rugrats. He looks basically like that now, and he's claiming to be Ezekiel, Elias's younger brother. So I mean, just I don't know. That's where it's always hard for me to talk about being a wrestling fan, because you have one guy that was in WWE or the NXT UK, Walter. Now he's in the US version of NXT. He's now named Gunther, but it's, again, you just changed the name. You had Pete Dunne, who was a fucking legit badass over in the UK. Now he's with Sheamus, the guy that just broke Big E, part of New Day's neck, Ridge Holland. And his name is Butch. He's like he's fucking the human version of Scrappy Doo. Legitimately the fucking human version. I implore you, anybody that's listening to the sound, it's literally that. And they're trying to like hold him back, and he's fucking like flailing around and trying to like elbows and assholes. Like, let me at him. Right. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? And there's a sign in the front row that's like, so he's now Butch. You really expect us to like believe that? Or that's what you want us to believe? It's like, that's the creative of WWE. That's the fucking bad part. When you have Hollywood writers doing something they have no clue, no inclination, no historical context about. Again, there's been bad gimmicks for 100 years. At the same time, you change somebody that's been on your fucking program, on your TV, and all of a sudden there's somebody different, and there's nothing behind it. It's just, oh, this is what you know are. It's like, why is Pete Dunne Butch? Why is he a little newsy guy from the 30s?
Yeah, well, it makes you wonder, though, how much creative control some of these people have, though, too.
None.
Because, well, let's put this into context, and then we'll kind of wrap up and let Bob pose the question, because we still have quite a few people in here on the print thing. It makes you wonder how many times, though, that these individuals are approached to a degree, and they're like, you know, this character isn't working. What else you got? And for whatever reason, they come up with something that's completely off the wall, and they're allowed to run with it. Now, I know that is probably not the case in a lot of scenarios. They pretty much tell you, this is what we're doing. You either accept it or you're gone. But there has to be some sort of ability for some of these individuals to have some input from a creative control perspective. Maybe not fully, and depending on where you fall in the pecking order, kind of dictates what that ability looks like. Because you look at, you go back to, for instance, Rocky Maivia. When he first came out, Rocky Maivia is who he was. Then he joins the Nation of Domination, or whatever the hell they were called. And then all of a sudden, he's now The Rock. And, you know, part of that had to do with his star power potential and things along those lines. But do you honestly think, though, that was somebody in creative control who actually came up with the mantra and the name The Rock? Or if that wasn't something that Dwayne actually had input into? Because there was going to be that push for him to be the next big superstar and contend with Triple H and Stone Cold and all those other guys. So I think there's a certain context that you have to kind of put that into perspective of who has potential creative control and who doesn't. For something like that, being like a lower tiered guy is probably one of those in which they had some storyline that they built in, and that's what they decided to come up with. And it makes no sense. But it happens all the time. These people change names and mantras and anything else time and time again. It happens all the time. But if memory serves me right to a degree, at least back in the day, there was some sort of context around some of the changes. It made sense as things progressed because of like a storyline. You know what I mean? Nowadays, it's like it's you flip a coin and okay, who's going to have a name change this week? And that's part of the reason why I stopped watching a lot of it, because it's like, okay, well, wait a minute. This person I remember used to be such and such. Now he's this. He was good. Now he's heel, and it's like, I know I'm missing a lot of context here, but
your suspension of belief or is wearing thin. Like, you know, like
yes,
yeah,
I
can go along with some of it.
Yeah, some of it's not plausible. It doesn't make sense, which is why, like I said, I don't follow it. I don't follow it. And like you said, Dave, I understand that's why it's difficult sometimes for you, though, too, is because some of this stuff doesn't make sense.
Well, that's you grew up. Jake the Snake hit the DDT. That was it. You're fucking dead. Now the DDT is basically just sort of a mid-move match. So you're telling me after all those years, this fucking, and even Cactus Jack with the double arm DDT or Mick Foley, those are finishers. Now all of a sudden you're telling me, it's just like a week 2 count. And I'm supposed to believe that I've watched Bryan Danielson for 10, 12 years. Now he's Daniel Bryan. I don't know. It sounds better, Bryan Danielson. But you have to change his name because you want to make him yours. Or these other guys that are already yours that are doing fine. It's not like these gimmicks are going to fucking put them over the moon. It's not. I always harken back to Brutus the Barber Beefcake. He wasn't going to be able to put it his gimmick from WWF, WCW, because you knew he was going to follow Hogan wherever he went. They're chums, they're best buds. But then he goes down there, and he's like the Zodiac. I don't even remember what he was originally, but then he went with like the man with no name. I mean, they could not literally find any sort of gimmick for him, obviously, because he couldn't talk on the mic for shit. So that didn't help his cause. But when you are constantly going through all these gimmick changes, all these name changes, all this, and like Elias, no, there's no fucking way he has any sort of creative control. He's so far down in the pecking order. He's not It's not like a Randy Orton. Robert.
So, how much for somebody to be like a superstar in wrestling? What balance would you say? What happens in the ring versus him on the mic, or just his charisma, if you will? Is it an even? I mean, are there people that are like fun to watch in the ring but they suck on the mic, or people that are all personality and they suck in the ring? Like, is there how is that weighed, you think, in, from them to elevate you to a somebody?
I think that's where The Rock took off. He might have had bullet points for his promos, but when he starts interacting, that cocky schmarminess. Ron Simmons was the leader of the Nation of Domination of Farouk. and then you'd see The Rock off to the side, like doing like the facial reaction, the eyebrow, like the rolling of the eyes. When he talked, it was always The Rock. He's talking in third person, so you're listening. You're like, well, this fucker hasn't really done anything, but he's talking about himself like he's important. So I'm like, I'm gonna listen a little more. And again, his in ring got better. He's got the bloodline. Obviously, that the Samoan bloodline of wrestlers. It's like it doesn't matter who you are, you're gonna get some sort of at least mic time, camera time. He had the look. He's good looking dude. So it's not like some schlub coming out there like me, like in bib overalls, and be like, oh fuck, turn the channel and throw a brick against my TV. I don't want to see this badass. Like, oh, The Rock. He's appealing. I mean, sounds good. He's funny when he's just doing his mannerism. Looks good. I mean, you've got right there. But then you had like Dean Malenko. Fucking could go with anybody in the ring. Vanilla on the mic. Not that he was given a lot of chances, but again, that wasn't his thing. It was always, I'm going to fucking show you in the ring my ability. The man of 1,000 holds. Mike Awesome. That's why in ECW, the judge, Jeff Jones, as his mic guy. Well, he didn't do much of anything either. But Mike Awesome's like 6'5", and he's doing fucking power bombs off the top rope through tables on the floor. Just an imposing figure where you see Hogan. Hogan's got power. Hogan doesn't have this aerial ability. So you're like, holy shit. Like Sid Justice going off the top rope and not breaking his leg, knowing what they're doing. So the facet of actually being able to cut a promo and people buying into your character, that's huge. I mean, that's always going to be something that's going to be paramount for anybody that actually wants to be like a huge superstar, a huge fucking entity in either WWF or wherever they go. Because there are very few guys that transpire over the years as silent, I'd say silent assassins. Taker, when he came out, originated. He didn't say anything. Then he started saying, rest in peace. And that was it.
Which was enough.
That more than enough.
Right.
So, but then it doesn't get stale, but at the same time, you have to see some sort of character growth. You can't be like Hogan. Say your prayers. Take your vitamins. Do the training. Whatever. It's like, shut the hell up with all that nonsense. You're sitting in court with Vinnie Mac about steroids, so obviously you took more than vitamins. People don't believe that after a while because, like, you can't just get good off that. If I'm doing the same thing and I'm not getting good, how is that a believable entity? Yeah. To say, well, no, I eat my vegetables. I do running. I do jumping jacks or whatever. I say my prayers each night before bed, and when I get up in the morning, I say a prayer. I'm still middling in the middle ground. Well, that's not believable, Hogan, if you keep telling me that. And I'm a kid that was 8, now I'm 13. It's like 5 years of this shit, and nothing's happening. You have to have some sort of character growth, and that's where he didn't. That's where the NWO thing came in, where he fucking that. Having Hall and Nash be there and Bischoff be like, this is either going to make or break you because you haven't. You're recycling the same verbiage. You can't do that for 20 years. Nobody's going to care.
Don't scratch your head, Dave. You know exactly what he means.
So you have to initially have a spark if you're coming out of nowhere, which now it's so tough to be that unknown entity because there's so many independent feeder type programs. I know him, who knows this guy, who knows The Rock. I know this guy who knows that guy who knows Becky Lynch or Trish Stratus or somebody where you don't have an in, but you have a possible in. And then footage everywhere. It's not just like it used to be trading tapes or whatever. It's, hey, the Fight Network that you can buy pretty much any pay-per-view you want on there. You got the WWE Network, you got New Japan World, you can watch anything over there. you know you're gonna find people. If you have a name like Braun Breaker, that's Scotty Steiner's nephew, Rick Steiner's kid. He's now once again the champion of the NXT. He won that from Dolph Ziggler on Monday Night Raw. You have that pedigree. You've already got both feet in the door.
I watched that match. I actually did watch that one.
And I know I read the review where it wasn't super glowing, but at the same time, I'll give him a pass. Again, it's a huge weekend for him. Wrestled on Saturday, pretty good match. Wrestling in front of a Monday Night Raw after a Wrestlemania, that's always the biggest Raw of the year because there's always some sort of swerve and nonsense going on to debuts. You get the free pass, but you didn't look like you were out of place. That's the thing. Is he ready for prime time? Maybe not yet. By SummerSlam in August? Maybe. Who knows? Again, you can do anything on the mic worth a damn. I mean, if you're not stuttering and stammering, and if you do that, you better be Scott Steiner. You can't be sitting like the old in your house. Hey, can we start over? No, we're live. And you just deadpan into the camera like, oh shit. You have some sort of talent. You have some sort of ability to either get the fans to like you or hate you. No matter, I mean, just a little bit. That can be that huge groundswell either way that you need. So again, it just depends on the wrestler, how much they're willing to work, how much they can, again, gather the fan support. You come out to groans and like, here comes that guy from that ranch in Texas again. Wow, what a fucking treat. That's the third time this fucking hour we've seen him. Wow, what a treasure this is. Or you get to see Lesnar, even Lesnar, developing from just the guy that hopped around, destroyed. Now he's having a little more fun out there. So, I don't know. It's not every wrestler is the same. Not every wrestler will connect with the audience the same way. Some will connect through the in-ring moves. Some will be the promos. Some will be a combination of both. Some will just be like badasses. And like, man, he looks like he's gonna kill somebody like Goldberg.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, how was he on the mic? I don't really remember. I just know he was, he had the finishing move that. Yeah.
You're next. You're next.
That's it. That's all I have to say.
You're next.
Yeah. Spear, jackhammer, done. And I mean, that's all he needed though at that time. That was all that was necessary.
Pretty much.
20 years, 25 years later, you see a lot of these guys doing wrestling like they're like the Cirque du Soleil acts out there. I mean, it's insane. There's a couple guys down in Minneapolis. I've met them, seen them in the Indies, and they're now in AEW. Top Flight, Darius and Dante Martin. They're absolutely insane in the ring. The stuff that they do. I mean, jumping from one turnbuckle to another, then doing like a 450 splash to the outside or a shooting star press. I mean, you're like, I can't even fucking walk without falling down. These guys are jumping on the top rope, like pirouetting and spinning. I'm like, how? So that they're getting people in, but now they've got to do something on the mic. They've got to bring them in even and make them feel like, hey, you know us, you know something about us, or you fucking hate us because whatever the reason may be, you can't just have the aerial maneuvers because a lot of guys have done that. People need to feel some sort of deeper connection other than you've got some fucking unworldly athletic ability. And then what?
Right.
What?
So, David, I don't mean to cut you off because I know you could talk about it for hours.
Me?
We're coming up on the 3-hour mark. Bob, hand it over to you. We'll wrap up the show with your print and asking a question as far as what you're thinking, what opinions you were looking for, whatever question you wanted to throw as it pertains to.
All right. So here it is, right? So this space right here, essentially, I have reviewed many hours of IRP footage, and there are a lot of phrases that get repeated quite often, and it's it's not even phrases, it's the preferred nomenclature is actually what it is. So it's basically wanted to that just kind of like riddle the background with, I was gonna just kind of, those t-shirts where it's just like words, like no spaces or whatever, just like continuous words, and then you get to the end of your thing and then you start over or something. But the nomenclature, like, so okay, and these are things just like general conversation things, but if you watch episodes after episodes, certain things you hear more than once. And so the phrase is, I can just get if people have anything more to add, or don't think it makes the cut, but so to speak, and again, for those individuals, but at the same time, call me crazy, as it pertains to, at the end of the day, it's one of those things, something that was said tonight, it is what it is. This one definitely, by any stretch of the imagination, we hear that one.
That's mine.
Yep.
From the perspective, bottom line, as a collector, this is my opinion. I could be wrong. Per se, let's be real, or anything along those lines. So those seem to be just come up again, conversational little inserts. But do you think that would be too much? And I don't want it to be so inside baseball, but or just some kind of a quote. I didn't know if I should do the, how you end the show, basically. I could do that back here. But I wanted this to be words. Or do I do we kind of go through and see who's on the show a lot and put those names back here, like the channel names? But filling in this space with preferred nomenclature or something was my idea. So I wanted to get you guys' consensus or your input on what that might be. And again, don't have to answer right now, but be thinking about it. That's all.
Okay. And that goes to everybody else who's still kind of hanging out. I like the thought process. I think it's going to be based on how you lay it out, on how it would look. The channel names, I mean, I like that too, just because we've had quite a few people on the show as well.
The only thing with that, it's like, if the channel grows, new people get in, somebody's going to feel like they missed out on being on the board. But you've had a pretty solid core audience from the beginning, and maybe that earns them the right to make the mat. But
I personally think you're kind of on the right track, though, Bob. At the end of the day, I appreciate you asking for feedback, of course, but at the end of the day, it's what you've. What was that, Dave?
It's one of those in which.
Yeah. It really falls on you as far as what you think is the best representation of what you're trying to put out there.
So the closer for the show, I mean, I think that encompasses what you guys are doing here. But I didn't want that to be seen as like corny or whatever, and it's not, but like I don't know if to incorporate that somehow might be the way to go. I don't know. We'll see how obviously I haven't done anything yet because I've just been mulling it over so much, and then wanted to get freaks.
No matter what you decide, Bob, I think it's going to be one of those in which we're going to appreciate the thought behind it, and that you've taken the time to do something like this. I think it's awesome. I mean, I do like the ending quote, but I'm kind of with you. I think there needs to be more to it than just that, though, too. And that's just my opinion.
Yeah, we can discuss more. Dave, you got any initial thoughts or?
Trista messaged and said nothing behind, but then I asked about the end phrase, which she hasn't gotten back to me yet. I would say coming down on like the side of Steve and I, that would be the catchphrase, the tagline at the end of the show, like my side and then Steve's side for the cascading down.
Because it might feel like a little busy if it's just like a big barrage of words.
She said put the catchphrase underneath like the show's name.
Well,
like, which they're
I could do maybe like here and down here, but then it's gonna be you're really gonna have to.
Well, yeah,
too busy right.
And then like I'd say between like our head, maybe have some of the catchphrases. Like instead of all the way across, just have it between the heads. So it's sort of like our minds.
All right.
Vinny, any thoughts from your side? Because I mean, he's taken the design that your daughter created for the shirts and expanding it.
Is there any copyright infringement on that?
No, we're a collaborative team. We're the IRP family. We make it work.
Dude, I'm just looking at it on camera, like clearly I like did the black marker here to here, so the flat black, it definitely like pops better once I did the black marker in there, but I don't know, I was pretty proud of that. Just doodling it.
Bob, once it's done, she could take that and put it in her program, and boom, whatever you decide, that could be a version of a shirt or whatever, because she has the technology.
All right, I'll put some more thought into it.
All I know is I got a talented kid and I got a talented friend there, because that's beautiful stuff.
Yeah, thanks. This is Tuesday night's an important night for me. I don't always get to participate, or I always catch it after the fact though. But you guys are my boys, and it just felt like the right thing to do.
So, Dave, you had something that we're going to throw out there.
Even if those go down, have it arcing like a rainbow.
I bet I could get. I'd have to mess with the spacing, and I know, Dave, you could put that to paper, your tagline. I know you just kind of wing it some nights, and it might not be. But I thought, like, I don't know, like, well, that would be a little bit too, like the whole PayPal, Venmo.
We will. You can leave that part of it.
You gotta draw the line somewhere, right?
That's an odd part. Yeah, that's a on brand, just jab type situation.
That's another on brand is something that comes up a lot too. So just yeah, that's where I'm at with it.
I love it, Bob. I think it's awesome.
This was I was talking to DC about this, but this was like my original. I just was gonna do like, a mat. Dang it. And then have IRP, like Insert Revolution Podcast, kind of like that. And then like see how the words were gonna kind of angle. No, I got the freaking angles wrong, but angle through it. But then I just sitting here watching it, looking at that little logo. I'm like, I got like a silver, marker, gold marker. I could do that perfect, and it turned out real well. So I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad I didn't just go with the letters, but that's what I kind of do. I incorporated that idea just in a different way. So I love it, guys.
Well, we're let's wrap us up, Dave, so Bob can go handle some business.
Thank you, everyone, for watching. Thank you for Robert coming on. Vinny, didn't expect you and your travels out in your vacay, as it were. Thank you again, as always. Your familia, both of you, familia. Everybody that watched, everybody that commented, everybody that didn't comment, watch it in the archive. Again, we try to build something organically. We try to build something that's actually meaningful, not something where we're putting stuff out there all the time on social media. Oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. If it comes to that point, like when we had Jeff Morris on, that's something where I feel people need to have eyes on our broadcasting. People come, they like to hang out. We like to hang out. Yet it helps get through the doldrums of a week, a month, a year, whatever the hell we're going through. You can sort of forget about life for at least 3 hours. 2.5 usually. Night 3. We're going # old school. So we thank you. Even if it is you, Eric. I know you already went to bed, so I can rip on you. And Eric. Just for you.
On brand.
On brand #. That'd be another one too, just #. So remember, dislike, unsubscribe, don't comment. The notification bell, it's not even there for our channel. I don't know, YouTube demonetized us before we even started. So when that yes, just smash your computer if you're watching this because you're just wasting time. PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, Contented Critters, animal shelters. Give the money there. Spay and neuter a pet. The appreciation. Dogecoin, Bitcoin, the crypto wallet's going to fill up.
Ape. Gotta go with now. Ape. That's the new one.
Oh, fuck off. I'd rather take plane tickets to card shows than fucking Ape. If we're going to talk about apes, we're going to talk about Harambe, and that's fucking it. Done.
Just keep going, Dave.
So, remember, next week, no show. I'm sure you'll find something else out there that's very meaningful to watch on a Tuesday night. And there's got to be at least 0 other things. So, remember, that's Steve. That's Vinny. It's our good friend Robert. Trading cards in this hobby is a wonderful thing to collect. The friendships you forge over time. Bob, what's the cat's name?
Squeaky. I was typing it in the chat. Yeah.
That's what this hobby should really be about. Good night, everyone.
All right, buddy.